Arnage and the Porsche curves. Porsche curves are very, very exciting. Not much room.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, David. Weather could be a big factor here. You see high temperature, 84 today. The big news, rain on Sunday. Now, they've repaved some of this racetrack. We had a wet session night. All the drivers said this place is lethal when it's wet.
Well, it collects water because it is a public road, so it's got a bit of crowning to it, but on the other hand, it does pick up water.
You see headlights on all the cars. That's one of the new rules this year. You must use your headlights for the entire 24 hours. And now the moment. The safety car will come off. Audi's across the front row, gambling everything on their new turbo diesels. And then Pescarolo Judd. The 74th running of the Michelin 24 Hours is underway.
Up to the Dunlop curve for the first time. It's been reconfigured since last year slightly. The pit X is different, and so is the first left and right corner. Audi's comfortably in the lead, followed by the two Pescarolos.
One of the Audis quickly gapping the field. Alan McNish started the car, put there by his teammate Rinaldo Capello.
Talked to the Audi guys about what kind of pace they would run, and they said they have no choice. They feel if anything breaks on the car, it's going to take time to fix it. They're going to run flat out from the beginning.
These cars have been tested 18,000 miles since they ran the only other race they have run, which was the American Le Mans Series 12 Hours of Sebring.
Which, of course, they won.
Very impressive debut because everyone knows how rough Sebring is. It had nothing at all like Le Mans, where it's nice and smooth and very fast.
On to Le Hunandier, also known as the Mulsanne Straight, broken up in 1990 by these, the first of two chicanes.
Oh, bit of a position change going there. Jan Lammers in the All Dutch Dome, also with the Judd engine, V10. They're on Dunlop tyres. All five of the cars in front of him are on Michelin, which certainly are a very strong tyre at this endurance race. You can see a wonderful day here. Absolutely perfect weather for the race today, although we hear that horrible storms coming tomorrow. But at the moment, Alan McNish has a very comfortable lead as he goes through the second chicane on the Uno Diaz straight. Going to go over the hump soon, which has been also cut down. It was a very steep hump. It's now sort of gone away, been muted somewhat. And of course, going to the Mulsanne, you see the remains of it. It's nothing like as bad as it used to be.
Plus, if you're at home, you're trying to listen to this Audi, don't adjust your set. It doesn't make any noise.
No.
That's right, it just hums.
The approach to Mulsanne, of course, was changed a few years back when they put this traffic island in that's right in the foreground in picture. And here's that long run from Mulsanne, that right-hand sweep. As you can see, there's not an awful lot of runoff area, and as we go over that little crest and veer off to the right, you have another right-hand apex coming up and a little drop in the road, which caused the aerodynamic problems in 1999, which sent Peter Dumbrick flying into the trees. As you can see, not very wide, and of course, as the race progresses and you start lapping people, coming into the Indianapolis complex now.
I'm kind of surprised the Pescarolos were tucked up underneath each other going through that rise. That's where the car gets light. You don't want to be right underneath someone.
Through the slight banking at Indianapolis, a brief blast, and then on the brakes hard for a 90-degree right-hander at Arnage.
So-called, of course, just to our left is the village of Arnage with lots of nice little restaurants and huge campsite down there with thousands of spectators all camped out down there.
I mentioned earlier, this is the biggest crowd I think we've seen in Le Mans in years.
Yeah, it's an 8-mile circuit, so there's a lot of room to put people.
Yeah,
well, they're everywhere.
Yeah. Sleeves rolled up, a la Formula One.
That's on board with the 17.
As well he might. That was Frank Montagny, who is a Formula One driver.
Because it gives you a bit of cooling, but boy, oh boy, that's a big lead that Alan McNish and Frank Wheeler have got on this very first lap, coming to the end of it now, sweeping through the last remnants of the Ford chicane coming up. This was the very first thing they ever put in to start slowing down the original circuit.
Talking with the Audi camp, they don't expect a trouble-free run. They've alluded to that throughout the weekend, saying that they need to get as much of a gap as they can in case they have to repair something. Obviously, with 20,000 test miles and so forth, they know something we don't.
Lap one complete. McNish leading teammate Frank Vila by a half second, and then 2.5 seconds back to the first of the Pescarolo Judds in the hand of Emmanuel Collard.
Back to the mandatory runoff areas. In the old days, the S's used to curve through there, and the bank was right to the edge. You used the edge of the bank as the clipping point on the car. There's Emmanuel Pirro looking on.
Will be second in the car after Bila gets out. A lot of secrecy surrounding this Audi project. So many resources devoted to those two cars. 5.5-liter all-aluminum 90-degree V12 engine, twin turbo, making 650 horsepower and 800 pound-feet of torque.
So if you give it up using it as a race car, you could take it out in the field and use it as a damn good tractor with that sort of horse, with that sort of torque. Whoa, going a bit wide there.
Yeah, the amazing thing about that car is you can tell already, it doesn't smoke like we think diesels in the United States are. Make all this racket and there's smoke and leak oil and all that. This thing makes no noise. It doesn't smoke. It goes really quick.
We were out there Wednesday night at Arnage watching people come through, and if you turned your back to the racetrack walking along, you'd jump right out of your shoes when the Audi came whopping by because you couldn't hear it coming.
What you do hear is the wind going over the body, and you can hear those tires slapping on the bits of asphalt.
Yes, exactly. That's about all you do here. But of course, diesel is something that's going to be in everybody's future. The USA has at last, after years of dragging their feet, changed their sulfur content in diesels to where everybody else in the world is now, and good diesel engines can be used there and become as popular there as they are in Europe. In Europe, nearly 60% of the vehicles on the road now are diesel.
Well, every other car that Audi sells worldwide is a diesel, so that gives you a pretty good idea.
Absolutely.
There goes Emmanuel Collard, whose previous attempt at a 24-hour race distance came at the Rolex 24 at Daytona earlier this year with Wayne Taylor's SunTrust team. Unfortunately, it ended before day turned to dark with a collision with a slower car.
Well, there you see the two Pescarolos in formation, but already dropping back a couple of seconds. Jan Lammers in the dome.
Last year, all those little blocks of sponsor names were in rectangles. Now, they're in the shape of the pentagons on soccer balls, a tribute to the World Cup. Today's race beginning an hour later to stay out of the way of the worldwide broadcast of World Cup competition.
And of course the Dutch are very keen on their soccer, and Johan Cruijff, who was the goalkeeper for the Dutch team, I believe, back 20 years ago, is now the manager and owner of the team, and he's here.
Well, for all the aficionados that like the way these cars look at them. I like the way they look now. Look at them quick, because by tomorrow, they're not going to look good at all.
Can you hear